So it has been several years since I made a video. This channel, I'm going to make 2 videos on this channel. So today I am going to do an update on the theater room. So first we're going to start on the outside of the theater room. See, we have posters for several different movies here, mostly from the 80s. Not all of them, but there's a couple that aren't, but a lot of these are mostly 80s movies. As you can see, Black Cauldron, Empire Strikes Back, then we get to a Coraline, which is not an 80s movie. And we do have, over here, we have Parasite, City of God, and Fright Night. And so this is the downstairs going towards the theater room. So today I'm not going to go over the other media areas that we have here, like this room. I will only be going over the theater room itself. So first, before we go into the theater room, these are the racks that I got to put my movies on. I have some racks here, and they go around the bend over here as well. And I have a lot of movies that I haven't watched yet, but so the movie collection is going here. One thing I was thinking before is maybe I should do some reviews of movies, you know, but there's a lot of people who do reviews, so, but I was thinking about doing it anyway, but anyhow, we have a lot of different varieties of movies here. And then here is the actual theater room. Thing is by the door over here. I have curtains put up. Instead of painting the door, I put up these curtains. And so now I can remove all the light from the room using that. Now, currently I am experimenting with how to block out all the rest of the light up here. You know, I never really liked the colors. I'm looking at different paint options, but right now I've been using velvet. So I have the whole front put up with velvet. I'm not worried about the back wall back there because that gets dark, you can't see it. There's no light shining on it. So yeah, so putting up velvet on the front here for now. And you can see here, these are the theater room lights that I got. They're very flush with the wall, so that they don't interfere with the screen. So we have 3 on this side and 2 on this side. So the second thing we have in here is the audio system. Go over. So I recently made those stands down there. So they are at, instead of having them on the floor trying to prop them up, I made these wooden stands. I had seen that they sell wooden stands. I was like, you know what, I could just make wooden stands. So that's what I did. And can actually show you what my wooden stands are. They're about 16 degrees tilted up since they are on the floor here, right? So let me just put the camera down there, and then I can walk over. You know, there's 3 of them. They're about 16 degrees tilted up. They are maple. Top is 3 maple boards that I glued together. Back's maple. This here is not maple. This is piece of furniture. And the bottom is a hardwood plywood. The theater screen is a Stewart Film Screen 100 Studio Tech. I originally had a 130, but it was annoying me because it was too bright. You know, not that it was too bright, it was too sparkly. Everywhere you looked at it, I was always sparkling with the whites. So, and if you went to the side and looked at it, you would see this big hot spot in the middle. So the Studio Tech 100 is completely uniform, and it has no gain and doesn't have any sparkle. You know, now I did switch up my projector recently, and I'll show you that in a minute, though. And I will say that having a projector with more light it definitely makes a big difference. But we'll go over that last here. So I have, these are, I think, think these are 12. But these are monolith, 2 monolith speakers. We have the Klitsch THX, or the 65,000 or whatever it is. 3 of them for the front centers. And then in the front here, I have 2 Power Macs. I have 2 of these Power Macs to handle all of the power conditioning. There's a Roku. There's also one of these seats vibrate. So there's a vibrate for the seat control up here that's hooked into there as well. Then I have this here, which is a Sony M800 or M2, whatever it is, but it's unlocked. This is unlocked, so I can play any Blu-ray or DVD, regardless of the region. And on this side, I have the Panasonic, not unlocked. This is a UB9000. It does have its own audio, but I don't use it. There's a PlayStation 5 on the floor there. The Panasonic, the drive did go bad, and I already had to replace it a couple years ago. So it has a brand new drive in it. Now I have noticed that there are some DVDs that end up not being able to play in this. They can't play in the Panasonic. I have to play them in the Sony. And some of them, I think it's because some of these discs have features on them that make the disc transparent, a little more transparent. And it seems like it's related to that, at least on some of them, because it's been transparent and it gets bad, it won't play it, and then I put it over there and it works fine in the Sony. So, yeah. Now I have, in this room, I do have the upward vent for the AC Infinity, and I have the Denon. This is the 8500 XHA, which is the flagship from a few years ago, right? And so it has what, like 140, 150 watt or something per channel, and so have that in there, and everything is wired up there in the corner, up at the very top there. You can see the cable goes up there for the projector. And so, as I said, these ones here have all of the vibrations in it. The front row has vibration, the back row does not. And on the ceiling, we have the Klitsch RP. These are the only ones that aren't THX. The THX ones are massive. Klitsch THX are massive. They're very thick, and they just don't fit in normal walls. They don't fit in normal walls. So these are the high-end RPs. I forget what the number was, but the high-end RPs. And they work fine, because typically your Atmos is lower power. There's not much going on, and they sound excellent. I don't notice any issues with them not being the THX versions. And then on the side here, we have these ones, which I had gotten, specifically the ones that distribute the sound back and forth, so that you can get both rows. And the sound, I will say, is definitely excellent. In the back, I got these ones. They go back and forth. So we have 4 Atmos speakers. We have 7 foundation speakers, 2 subwoofers. So, and now the projector. So this is my old projector. This is a Sony 715ES. And it's a lamp projector. And I will say that it's an excellent projector. It was a great projector, especially for its time. I mean, there was the 915 that was laser, but I went with the lamp. Now, one thing about the lamps is they get hot. And that was always the biggest downfall of this thing, was these lamp projectors, they do get hot. And literally watching a 2-hour movie, this room would go up by 10 degrees. So it was not ideal for movie watching. So I actually had to put an air conditioner in the back, an extra air conditioner, other than the one that's already feeding from the house. So now I have, so another thing I want to say is that before we go to, there's always this debate of laser versus lamp. But, the problem here with that for me is that this is still a digital image. So even though, you know, you're thinking the old school lamp, whenever I go up to the screen and look at it real finely, there's still pixels on it. It's not like the lamp is going through actual, you know, film and projecting it. That would be a lot different. So, but it's not. So, you know, it doesn't really make any sense to keep the lamps around, especially whenever they are so hot, you know. So I bought the Sony. Now, I know that everybody is going to say JVC. You know, so why did I go with Sony? So I consider JVC. By the way, this one's also its own Panamax power conditioner. So why did I go with the Sony? And I'll tell you which model I got in a minute here. But okay, so I looked at all the options, and it came down to Sony or JVC. JVC has the edge on better color saturation, like a lot better color and deeper blacks, right? Black levels. And so, but they do not have, they have softer images, right? The Sony has the edge in that their lenses are excellent. And not only their lens is excellent, but the images are extremely sharp. And even on that one, you know, and whenever I look at a TV and I see how sharp it is, I can definitely tell that mine's not as sharp, you know. I haven't compared with this one, the new one, but with the old one I definitely could tell it wasn't as sharp, but it was still sharp when you watched it until you compare it to TVs. And TVs are always ahead of projectors. Now, the second thing here is that I'm also colorblind, so the color stuff didn't matter as much to me. Now, I do see colors, I just confuse them sometimes, you know, but overall, whenever I looked at the images, the biggest annoying thing is always the sharpness for me. Now, I do appreciate being able to see better and darker scenes, but with the newer Sonys, they're catching up to JVC, and there's not that big of a gap. However, there's still a huge gap in sharpness, and so that's why I chose the Sony over the JVC, is that reason only. Now, this one here has excellent color. You know, compared to that one, definitely excellent color, but way better black levels. So to me, I'm very happy with this one. Also, since it's a laser, it doesn't get as hot in this room anymore. And so, now out of the lasers, you have the Sony Bravia 7, the Bravia 8, and the Bravia 9, right? And so originally, I was thinking of getting the Bravia 8. You know, it was going to be on sale. However, at the end of the day, I thought, well, you know, I should just go for it and get the best on the market today, which is the Bravia 9. So this is the Bravia 9. And I would say that it is absolutely amazing and a very, very excellent projector. Now, as far as the room's electrical, there was a heater, a built-in heater on the side over there. So I took that out and had that replaced with just a regular. So it was 2 lines for 240, and so I changed it to a 120 regular, and the whole base is now wired on that power grid, which means all the audio and equipment is on that power line. Now separately, I had cut the top line that was coming in, and so it's only doing the projector now. So the projector and the audio are on separate power lines. I did that just to make sure that I could balance out the power here without running into an issue, since supposedly these speakers are like 1500 watts, it's like, or something like that. I mean 800, I don't remember. But yeah, if you add up all the watts, it takes up more than you're actually going to get out of an outlet, you know. So that's why I distributed so that they're on separate grids. One thing here is I do have these type of LEDs here, and this is the I forget, the illumination system, whatever, where this is a lumen system or something, where you have a thing on the network that can use your phone. You can turn the lights on and off with your phone. And so that's what I use this. And we have lights for the stairs, so I can turn off, like, you know, lights on the stairs, turn them on. I can turn off the whole theater room, these lights on the side up there. It's going to go dark here. And you can see that then the stairs and everything else is lit up. So that is what we have here. And now for the lumens, there's a device that hooks up to the network that talks to these controllers over here so that I can just sit down, use my phone app, and just turn the lights on and off with the phone app. As far as the seating, I'm not as thrilled with the seating, but it was on sale and I ended up getting it thinking that this might be real wood and not plastic crap, but it's plastic crap. I should have got the Valencia or whatever the other stuff was. So, but yeah, they're okay. You know, they do have things in here to put stuff in, whatever. They have USB charging on the side. The headrest moves. The biggest thing about these, though, that I liked is that they lay down in place, meaning they don't go forward, but they hug the wall. They don't go back. These backs don't lean backward, so I can hug it up against the wall very tightly. Because whenever it goes down, see, it just moves out. It moves out and then down a little bit. See, so you don't have to have a huge amount of space, because otherwise in the regular chairs, some of the regular chairs, I'd have to have a huge gap here and I wouldn't be able to have two rows. But with this chair, and I'm sure other brands do this too, even the Valencia high-ends or whatever, you know, but that's just one thing that this one has. And it has the headrest moving as well as this, and has the USB charging, and has the vibrations. Now the vibrations, whenever these came, all the chairs actually have the vibration. You just have to buy the extra little thing over here that I hooked up. And they weren't hooked, they didn't hook them up right. In fact, they're vibrating really bad and rather than a chair. So I had to take them off the chair and then re-screw them in tightly. Also, they're on the lower bar, and with carpet, your seats hit the lower carpet, and so that doesn't vibrate. So you have to make sure you put some type of cups underneath the seats so that you raise up the seats a little bit so that those vibrations are off of the ground and the chair will actually vibrate. Okay. So I had gone through why I've gotten the Sony or the JVC. And like I said, currently I'm testing out some different color options again here for the front, or I might just keep this here. I'm also cleaning stuff up here. Like I said, I built those stands now. And the other thing I'm doing is I'm looking to build a cabinet here, because I need a custom cabinet. I looked at cabinets, a lot of them are junk. They're too big. You know, I can only go up about 20 inches. That's how high that thing is right there, to be under the screen. Right, the screen's 150 inch, 16 by 9. But that's why I got this real small low thing, but I want something that's going to hide this equipment better. So I'm thinking about building something that's a bit longer than this. It's like 2 feet deep. Maybe it goes all the way against the wall there even. But the big thing is that it hides all the equipment. And so part of it is not enclosing it, like the back will be open. Also having holes in the top, or slots in the top, so that the air can flow in and out. Second is the very front. What I'm thinking is it will also have slots in the front, and instead of the doors coming open, because it's going to hit into other stuff, I want the doors to be sliding. So I want 2 rows of doors where they slide and don't hit each other, so they can slide open again there. And there's slots in there for the air to go through, plus for any IR remotes to work with these things. So that's what I am currently looking at building for this to finish this up here. And yeah, I've never put trim around this thing. So now that I've ranted on about everything in here,